Welcome to today's episode of Football Scientific with me, Aaron Sauter. I'm writing for FootballAnalysisOne.com. Cover the Cincinnati Bengals, Buffalo Bills, fantasy football, and the NFL. Also, I write for CFL I cover the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Today, we're going to continue our coverage of the NFL, CFL, UFL, IFL, NAL doesn't have anything going on, and European League of Football. And we're going to continue our predictions for the weekend. We are 1-0 in the CFL. Boo, after Montreal just barely beat Toronto last night. We'll go through that game tomorrow. I'm going to go through and watch it tonight. So a little behind on some football stuff. But we're going to go through and talk about the rest of the games this weekend and some NFL news and see how that's flowing. We have a few shorts about some NFL news along the way. But the main thing is getting caught up and getting that IFL betting guide in. We have an IFL betting guide. It seems like we've lost a little bit in the last couple of weeks, so DraftKings has decided to open up the IFL stuff back, which is nice. It's nice. It's probably nice. We lost a few games last week in the CFL. I expect we'll go 4-0 this weekend. But we lose a couple, and that way our fans do not clear them out, and then they take the CFL standings off, the line off the app, so that'd be unfortunate. I'm not betting on these games, but if you are, hope this is paying off for you, okay? All right, just so you know, gambling is for fun only, blah, 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 blah. Betting lines are for gambling, but we're not doing that, so not trying to encourage that. Tyler the Tiger's here with me today. Tyler the Tiger's back, fired up, ready to go, really feeling good about the weekend. Hope we get to watch some good football. Yeah, we're going to get to watch some good football. Thanks. Training camp's about to start in NFL. That'll be cool. And we'll see how it goes. The 31st is the first NFL preseason game, the Hall of Fame game, Detroit and San Diego Chargers. So that should be fun. We're going to have another college football episode probably tomorrow about the Conference USA. Conference USA predictions. And we'll see how it goes. Our MAC predictions were earlier this week, I think on Wednesday. So check that out if you would like to see some college football coverage from us, okay? We're kind of just dipping our toes in the water and tell you where it takes us. Boom. So, first, NFL news. Jacksonville Jaguars, they have signed their fourth-round pick, linebacker Jack Kaiser. They have now signed all of their nine 2025 draft picks. So they're a role model. The Bengals are not a role model. They don't sign Shemar Stewart yet. They will not sign him currently. But Jacksonville Jaguars drafted 9 guys, signed them all. Boop. Good. Okay, Kansas City Chiefs had some legal things come down. If you don't know, wide receiver Rashee Rice, a couple of years ago in 2024 in Dallas, he got hit with a multi-car accident that he had caused, and he had to go to court, and the judge recently just put out his verdict, I think yesterday. We gave him 5 years probation and 30 days of jail time that he had need to complete in those 5 years. So he gets to pick and choose when he wants to go to jail. I think it's because he's a professional athlete. But he's on 5-year probation, and it said if he completes the 5-year probation with no issues, then they'll actually forgive him for the 30-day jail sentence. And this will actually be dismissed. The case will be dismissed. So he needs to keep his nose clean for 5 years. And then he'll be fine. Can he do that? I don't know. So NFL guys have a hard time keeping their nose clean. I think if you threaten me with 30 days of prison, be cool for 5 years and you can avoid 30 days in prison, I would take that. Okay, Indianapolis Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson. A lot of talk about his shoulder, but it looks like he's going to be good to go. He's going to be full strength for training camp, which is good for the Colts. And we'll have an actual competition, Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones. Some people are really excited about Daniel Jones, but they were excited about him in the Giants too. I've never been excited about Daniel Jones. If I was a Colts fan, I'd be hoping Anthony Richardson get this together. But she probably won't. Quarterback graveyard, Indianapolis Colts. LA Chargers, wide receiver Mike Williams. They were holding out that he was going to come back. He's retired. Boom, he's done. Minnesota Vikings wide receiver Jordan Addison, another guy with legal issues. So he had been hit with a DUI in 2024. Well, he pled guilty to a lesser charge, so that way they could just get through it and pay him and have him taken to his fine and all that stuff. NFL is not going to do some discipline. He's probably going to get 3 games suspended. It's going to cost him roughly $88,000, and most of it's guarantees. So there you go. DUI, much worse than a multi-car accident, apparently. Okay, Minnesota Vikings. This is the rest of the story. So Jordan Addison, he stands to forfeit $88,000 a game due to suspension. As mentioned earlier, it can be a 3-game suspension. And then he loses the fully guaranteed part of his contract for the next 2 years at $4.6 million. So he'll be, forced to basically play some games, which is probably a good idea for a day of DUI. Let's keep him on the field and keep him out of the parties. Okay. Denver Broncos, they have signed second-round pick running back R.J. Harvey to a 4-year deal. I think he's going to have a big season this year. They finally got him signed. Baltimore Ravens signed rookie Mike Green, and they have placed safety Ardarius Washington on the PUP list. I think they're going to start Malachi Starks, guys. They moved Ardarius safety to the PUP list. He's not going to play. So, and they signed Mike Green. Let's see. If you're going to get Malachi Starks, you might as well start him. He's a really good safety. Came from Georgia. Bengals should have picked him up. Could have picked him up. So we're fighting with Shemar Stewart, who's not even really a good defensive end. He's like a D tackle that plays defensive end. Why are we messing with him? I don't know. Detroit Lions, left tackle Taylor Decker, defensive tackle Aleem McNeil are both on the PUP list. Physically unable to perform is what PUP means. Pittsburgh Steelers, we announced this last night. They paid T.J. Watt 3 years, $123 million extension, $108 million guaranteed, $40 million per season for him. He's now the highest paid non-quarterback in NFL history. He has, since 2017, 108 career sacks. A lot of people, I saw some articles pop up saying, well, now the Bengals have pressure on them. A precedent's been set. They'll need to pay Trey Hendrickson, $30 million, 41 or whatever. That's not how the Bengals work. They're not even in position to do that, honestly. They don't have that much cap space. I think they got $30 million in cap space right now, so they could offer him $26 million. Which is a boost from $16 million he's made. He has on his contract. Make him play this year. I think they're going to end up making him play this year, Trey Hendrickson, and then they're going to franchise tag him next year. So I don't think he's gotten the contract from the Bengals. So either he decides to sit out and not get any of that money, or he's going to come play, try to blow it up, and he'll probably get franchise tag. Now, the Bengals did show last year that if you blow it up enough, T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, then they will give you the contract you want the next year. So he's got to keep that in mind. If he shows up and blows it up, he's working out by Cincinnati. If he blows it up, he'll get the contract he wants. But if he's average, if he's hurt, he'll get franchise tagged. Okay, with T.J. Watt getting paid, here's the edge rushers that have been paid so far. T.J. Watt, Max Crosby, Myles Garrett, Danielle Hunter. Okay, you can count how many playoff wins are in that group. There's none. Okay, in the last 5 years or so. So, is it really important to have a major pass rusher? It's not. It's not. Best teams don't have one of these top guys. Mental note. They don't waste their money on a guy who's irrelevant to winning championships. The guys who have not been, that's no offense to Trey Hendrickson. The guys who have not been extended, who have not been given new contracts are Cincinnati Bengals, Trey Hendrickson, Micah Parsons for the Dallas Cowboys, Aiden Hutchinson of the Detroit Lions. I could see Aiden Hutchinson getting his pay. I could see Micah getting his. I don't see the Bengals playing Trey Hendrickson like this. Okay, honestly, I would not pay him. I would not pay him. Atlanta Falcons. So they're not going to extend the option on Kyle Pitts. So this will be Kyle Pitts last year in Atlanta. He had an injury he's been dealing with. People said they're going to trade him, blah, 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 blah. Well, they're not going to trade him this year. They're going to keep him, but they're not going to extend him. He's not been as productive as he's supposed to be. They drafted him thinking he was going to blow it up like, Travis Kelce, but he has not done that. So they're going to let him go, but they're going to get one more year out of him. He's got a year out of his contract. They're going to let him play, but they're not going to extend him. Okay. LA Chargers, they signed, that's a good prove-it year for him. He needs to blow it up so he gets a real contract next year. LA Chargers, they signed second-round draft pick, wide receiver Trey Harris to a rookie deal. Yesterday, when Alfred Williams signed, he was the first second-round guy to sign. He triggered a chain reaction there. So say Bengals, to clarify the Shemar Stewart situation, Texas A&M head coach Mike Elko says that defensive end Shemar Stewart will not be able to return to A&M. He'll not be returning to A&M. We already knew you couldn't return to college. Okay, you've been drafted. You can't return to college. Some people thought he could, though. He can go UFL or CFL, or he can forfeit his contract and be redrafted. Or he can just sign a contract. That's just three options. That's what you got for Shemar Stewart, okay? You can just sign the contract. Boop. You can fall out and go UFL or CFL, which would be a huge risk to his health, and also it could expose him as not being very good, which I don't think he is. I don't think you want to do that. Or he can just play. You can just sign a contract and play. That's probably the best call. Seattle Seahawks, if you're really that good, then you're going to play, come in and blow it up. Blow it up and ask for a contract extension then. Will you get it from the Bengals? No, but you'll get it from someone, I think. Seattle Seahawks defensive line, Nick Amanawari, who's also a second-round pick, has been reached an agreement with the Seattle Seahawks. He's getting a fully guaranteed contract. He's a number 35 pick. So that's going to make it difficult to not give Shemar Stewart a fully guaranteed contract. They should just give him a fully guaranteed contract. He's happy with the money. Just make it fully guaranteed. They're doing that for a second-round draft pick now. Your legs to stand on, Cincinnati, are becoming less and less. Buffalo Bills, they have reached agreement with second-round draft pick defensive tackle T.J. Sanders, who I mentioned in my Buffalo Bills position group power rankings. I think he's going to be a player for Buffalo. They drafted a couple different defensive linemen. He got a 4-year rookie contract, $10.645 million deal. And it's not fully guaranteed, but 10.073 of it's guaranteed. So that's pretty good. NFLPA Executive Director Lloyd Howell has resigned due to a conflict of interest. It's been an ongoing story. They're now going to look for an interim executive director. So the NFLPA guy is not trustworthy. That's probably why we haven't had any kind of strike or anything recently. Las Vegas Raiders, they placed defensive tackle Christian Wilkins on the PUP list, physically unable to perform. Seattle Seahawks signed second-round pick tight end Elijah Arroyo. 4-year, $8.813 million, $6.872 fully guaranteed. I mean, that's just putting pressure on the Bengals. Now, they don't tend to measure themselves against other programs. So that's one reason why TJ Watt being signed is not going to pressure the Bengals. They know what they got. They ain't got much. They don't have extra money laying around. So they need to get a different ownership group, honestly. Let's go. Let's look. Cincinnati owned the team. Taxpayer funded or whatever. That'd be fun. But the Brown family has run their course, I think. Washington Commanders tight end Zach Ertz hopes that wide receiver Terry McLaurin gets the contract extension he wants. He wants to see him on the field. They want to make a run for the Super Bowl this year, and they need Terry McLaurin to do that. So the Commanders are kind of being petty too, but not really because they don't want to blow up their salary cap. Okay. Also, with Terry McLaurin, the New England Patriots are showing interest in trading for McLaurin. So they're like, if you don't want to pay him, we'll pay him. And they have a whole roster of crappy receivers. So Terry McLaurin will be the best of those, and they'll have plenty of money to pay him. So, but I hope they don't do that. Boo, New England. Dallas Cowboys, Micah Parsons says, he doesn't know why Dallas is making it difficult. But every time they wait, if they're going to sign Micah Parsons, the price tag keeps going up. That's how it goes. It keeps going up. Unless you're just not going to, bend down and pay like the Bengals probably will not. If you're actually going to end up paying, you should do it earlier than later because it's going to be cheaper. Now, they're going to have to pay Micah Parsons over $41 million a year. Straight up. He'll be the top paid non-quarterback in the league once he gets signed. Pay him early. Save some money. Dallas Cowboys cornerback Trayvon Diggs. He has a knee injury. He's been rehabbing his knee at a different facility. He's going to have to pay back $500,000 of his base salary for not rehabbing at the Dallas Cowboys facility. Buffalo Bills wide receiver Elijah Moore is looking to be an under-the-radar star in 2025. I mentioned he's going to be really good for Buffalo in my Buffalo Bills power rankings of their position groups on footballanalysis1.com. Las Vegas Raiders wide receiver Jack Beck, 58th overall pick out of TCU. He's agreed to terms to his rookie contract. It doesn't say what it's going to be, but he should get paid pretty well. Minnesota Vikings former quarterback Kirk Cousins, the backup quarterback for Atlanta Falcons, says that wide receiver Justin Jefferson is the best wide receiver in the NFL. His opinion, and we all know what his opinion is. Trash. Okay, next, CFL. I mentioned last night, we went 1-0 so far. Montreal came out and did some business. Calgary and Winnipeg have made a bunch of adjustments to the roster going into a game. They play tonight at 8:30 Eastern Time. It's going to be on CFL Plus for the American viewers, TSN, RDS for the Canadian viewers. Calgary Stampeders. Here's what they've done. First, they moved to the practice roster American quarterback Josh Love. Okay. Then they added from the practice roster national linebacker Justin Herman-Reed. So that's they added in exchange for Josh Love. They added to the single game injury list national long snapper Cameron Foreman, and they moved to the single game injury list national running back William Langland. I think it's Langland. They added from the practice roster, they added to the active roster American defensive back Anthony Johnson. They moved the 6-game injury list national linebacker Nicky Forinchito. And then they activated from the practice squad global punter Frazier Mason. Okay, I think that they're going to hit a wall this week. They've been pretty good the last couple weeks. I think they've been pretty good because other teams are hitting a wall. They're hitting a wall. They're getting a lot of injuries and stuff. So that's why I think Calgary's going to take an L this week. But I thought they had taken an L the last 2 weeks. I don't believe in Calgary. Why not? Because I don't think Vernon Adams Jr. cannot throw interceptions, but he's done really well the last few games. And they have a really good running game. So if they keep that, they're going to win every game. Can they keep that? Not traditionally. Not recently. BC Lions, they released national long snapper Cameron. That's probably their long snapper they released. BC Lions added national DB Joshua Haggerty. Montreal Alouettes added American defensive lineman Sean Lemon. He came off suspension yesterday and quickly resigned with the Alouettes and made an impact against Toronto Argonauts in that 1-point win. So he's coming back off his suspension for illegal gambling on his team. Yeah, but he's also the PED ban he's dealing with. I guess he was supposed to have that, but I guess he didn't have it because he played last night. They moved to the single-game injury list national wide receiver Tyson Philpott. They added from the practice roster American DB Daniel Oladejo. Okay, and they made some moves. They won the game. That's pretty big. Okay, big football scientific. We were right once again. Winnipeg Blue Bombers, they added from the practice squad American defensive lineman Jason Person. They added from the practice squad American wide receiver Dylan Mitchell. They added from the practice squad roster American wide receiver Kobe Case. They moved to the single-game injury list American linebacker Jonathan Jones. And they moved to the 6-game injury list American wide receiver Dalton Schoen. And I saw an article from Dino Sepe yesterday. Dalton Schoen washed up, man. Yes, and should Kenny Lawler stay with the Bombers? Yeah, they probably should have kept Kenny Lawler, honestly. We went through our CFL betting guide yesterday, so refer back to that. I will have a few announcements for tonight's games going on, so there will be a short about that with our prediction, which we're pretty good at. We're really good at that, actually. Okay, so in the IFL, we're going to do IFL betting guide today. In the IFL, a lot of moves have been made. The Massachusetts Pirates have released linebacker Marquise Waters and signed defensive lineman Tyshawn Render, trying to get their defense ramped up. They got to win. They got to win this week. After losing to Tulsa last week, they got to win if they want to make playoffs. If they lose, they're done. Bay Area Panthers, just coming out to the last 2 weeks of the IFL, mental note. Last 2 weeks of the IFL regular season. Bay Area Panthers They added to the short-term IR list offensive lineman Devin Salter, and short-term IR list defensive lineman Damon Williams have been added to the short-term IR list. They activated from the short-term IR list defensive lineman William Martin III, and they added from the short-term injury list offensive lineman Ethan Hagler. So Ethan Hagler's going to step in for Devin Salter, and William Martin III is going to step in for Damon Williams. We'll see how they do. Green Bay Blizzard, they have activated from the short-term IR list running back Kamani Clark, and they have activated the short-term IR list linebacker Andre Wharton. Arizona Rattlers, they signed offensive lineman Anthony Barber, trying to build up their roster for a postseason run. And they moved to the short-term IR list linebacker Calhoun. San Diego Strike Force, they signed defensive back Matt Elam, wide receiver Arthur Jackson III, defensive back Kashawn Walker activated from the short-term IR list defensive lineman Jalen Joyner. They moved to the short-term IR list defensive back Atoa Fox, which is why they need to sign a couple defensive backs. And they moved running back Edward Van to the short-term IR list. They also moved three players to the season IR list, meaning they should be out for the year. I say should because some guys have been added out and then they played still. So they should be out for the year. It was defensive back Draco Statham, wide receiver Jalen Sample, and running back Trayvon Van. That's a lot of good players, man. They're moving a lot of people around. I think they're trying to cover up some weaknesses. They're in position to make a run, but maybe they'll run out of players first. That's what happens in IFL. You only got 25 players. You know, can you make a championship run? Can you do something unbelievable? Yes, unless you run out of players. I think San Diego's staring at that right now. All right, so then we get into our IFL betting guide. Boom, so here we go. First, tonight, Friday, July 18th, 8:05 p.m. Eastern. It's like a playoff game, guys. It's Massachusetts Pirates. They must win at Green Bay Blizzard, okay? Green Bay has not clinched a playoff spot. They clinch a playoff spot, they win this game, okay? Massachusetts Pirates doesn't necessarily clinch a playoff spot, they win this game, but they're out if they lose this game, okay? So Green Bay is in if they win. Massachusetts is out if they lose. If Massachusetts wins, they got a chance if Tulsa loses to tie them back up for that last spot. They will not clinch this week at all, but they could lose it this week. Green Bay has a much better offense than Mass Pirates. Mass Pirates make a lot of mistakes. They put some wins together. But, I mean, at this point, Green Bay needs to win this game at home. Everything points to Green Bay. Mass Pirates tend to struggle at Green Bay. Everything, to me, points to the Green Bay Blizzard beating Mass Pirates and knocking them out of the playoff run. And that would solidify the playoffs for everyone else. That would solidify everyone else. That would add Jacksonville. That's a big key. Knocking out the Pirates is a big piece to knock out. It would also clinch the Green Bay Blizzard. It would clinch the Tulsa Oilers if they win. It would clinch the Jacksonville Sharks. Okay, so the East is pretty much set. The West is almost set too. Okay, so Green Bay Blizzard is going to win this game, I believe, 52-41. Should be an exciting game. Kind of playoff atmosphere. They're going to win 52-41, 93 total points scored. DraftKings agrees with me. They have Green Bay as a 6.5 point favorite. Mass Pirates 6.5 point underdog. They say over-under is going to be 85.5. I said it's going to go over just because both teams need to win this game. Green Bay will win this game at home and make the playoffs. Massachusetts playoff hopes will be dashed. It'll be over, Rover. Okay, so I got Green Bay on the money line, and I got the over on this one. Saturday, July 19th. So all the games are on the IFL Network, guys. Saturday, July 19th, 7:05 p.m. Eastern. We got the Arizona Rattlers at 9-5, traveling San Antonio Gunslingers, who are eliminated from the playoffs for 4-10. San Antonio has been going on a tear of upsets, though. They have been upsetting people. Jacksonville, and then last week they got an upset, I believe, or maybe they didn't. They didn't get it close, though. Okay, Arizona Rattlers need to come in focused into San Antonio. It's a tough place to win in San Antonio. Arizona Rattlers have had some inconsistencies, but not recently. They're on a stretch again. They were down 7-5 and had won 2 straight games. If Arizona Rattlers win that game, they are in the playoffs, guys. That's it. Real simple. Beat San Antonio Gunslingers, who are 4-10, and then you're in the playoffs. Okay, if you lose that, things get real sketchy. Okay, Tucson could still win a spot. Okay, but if Arizona wins, Tucson's done, Arizona's in, and probably Vegas is in too, honestly. San Antonio's already out. So with that in mind, with the stakes that we have, I'm hoping Arizona shows up properly. And I said they're going to win this game 48-32 in San Antonio. 80 total points. DraftKings agrees with me. They got Arizona Rattlers an 8.5-point favorite. This is the big favorite. San Antonio Gunslingers an 8.5-point underdog. So I agree with that. Over under 85.5. I think it's going to go under. I think it benefits Arizona to grind this game out. Their running game is much better than San Antonio's, and their defense is better. So I think if they can grind it out, it's going to be an easier chance to win. So I think it'll be an under for this game. But you never know. Sometimes Arizona comes and blows people's doors off, and they'll go over. So I don't know. But I say Arizona wins no matter what. They're the only team playing for stakes. Got to play for stakes. Okay. Saturday, July 19th, 7:05 p.m. Eastern, we got the Fisher's Freight hosting the San Diego Strike Force. San Diego Strike Force have already clinched a playoff spot, but they're trying to end. If they win a game here and Arizona loses, they got a good chance to get a home playoff game. Okay, which should be big. They play way better at home than they do on the road, so it'd be huge for San Diego a home playoff game. They got Fisher's Freight, who's 5-9, been eliminated from the playoffs. So say if San Diego's a playoff team, they will beat the Fisher's Freight. Okay, does that mean they'll beat them? No, because they're so inconsistent. They're inconsistent. Okay, but they can beat anyone at any given time. They can lose anybody any week. But I got San Diego win this game in Fisher's 42-39. Total points scored is 91. DraftKings agrees with me, but I don't agree as much. They got San Diego Strike Force as a 6.5-point favorite. They say Fisher's Freight 6.5-point underdog. Over under 84.5. I think Fisher's going to keep it closer than 6.5 points. This will be a close finish down the stretch. San Diego tends to play these close games. Even when they open it up big early on, they tend to let people come back. Okay, over under is 84.5. So if I was betting this game, I'd pick Fisher's Freight with the points, and I'd go over on this. I think it's going to go over. 84.5. Next, Saturday, July 19th, 8:05 p.m. This is tomorrow. Quad City Steamers have clinched the playoffs. Travel Iowa Barnstormers, who are 1-13 and been eliminated. This one should be an easy win for Quad City, unless they suffer a major injury like the Daquan Neal. Now, here's the deal. If they win the game, they're definitely going to have home field advantage throughout the playoffs, which is huge for Quad City. They have a wild crowd there. If they lose, Green Bay could overtake them if they beat Massachusetts. So, Quad City really needs to win that game if they want to make a run to the national championship game. I think they'll have home field until the national championship game if they beat Iowa tonight. And Iowa's 1-13. So with that in mind, I think Quad City is going to win, but not by much. I think it will be a competitive game. Quad City has had a tendency to make some mistakes down the stretch. Iowa has a tendency to hang around. They don't play well, but they hang around. Okay, so I say Quad City wins this game at Iowa, 48-44. DraftKings, that's 92 total points. DraftKings has Quad City as a 14.5-point favorite. And I could see how you would do that. Yeah, Quad City probably should blow this team out, okay, by 14.5 points. But I said they're not going to. I think Iowa's going to hang around. Iowa's been annoying and just hang around. This is their last game of the year. They're going to go all out. I think they'll keep within 14.5 points. I don't think they'll win, but they might win. But I don't think they'll win. I think they're going to score a bunch of points, and the over-under is 91.5. I think it goes slightly over, but the more safe bets, I think there's going to be Iowa with the points, okay? They're going to keep it within 14.5 and you get the win, okay? That's the deal there. I would do that. Jacksonville Sharks at Tulsa Oilers is Saturday, July 19th, 8:05 p.m. at IFL Network. Jacksonville Sharks 9-5 at Tulsa Oilers 8-6. This is it, man. This is it. This is the playoff game. Okay. If Jacksonville Sharks are 9-5, Tulsa Oilers are 8-6. Okay. If Jacksonville knocks off Tulsa and Massachusetts beats Green Bay, Massachusetts could still take Tulsa's playoff spot. Okay, Tulsa needs to win this game. Jacksonville, if they win this game, they clinch the playoff spot. Now, I believe Jacksonville will clinch the playoff spot as long as whatever they got 9. It's 14. They can lose one game. I think they've already clinched the playoff spot. In my mind, they've already clinched it. Okay, because Massachusetts is only playing one more game. Jacksonville's only playing one more game. Tulsa's only playing. This is Tulsa's last game of the year. So I mean, Jacksonville. I don't know if anyone can overtake them. The only thing Tulsa could do is jump in front of them, but they're going to be on the road no matter what, unless they win that game. If Jacksonville wins that game and goes 10-5, now if Quad City loses, they could be the top 2 and get a home game. So I think they're definitely going to clinch if they beat Tulsa. If Tulsa loses, that opens the door for Massachusetts. If Massachusetts beats, Green Bay. Okay, Green Bay loses, Jacksonville Sharks win. Jacksonville Sharks become the number 2 team, and they get a home game. And Green Bay will have to go travel to Jacksonville, which is not ideal for Green Bay. Okay, traveling in the IFL playoffs is difficult. Okay, I think Jacksonville Sharks, Tulsa Oilers. Jacksonville's not played as well as they should recently. They have not played their abilities. I say they win this game in Tulsa 44-42. Now, Sam Castronova's there, and he might be the difference, okay? I think Jacksonville's a better running game. I think they're more consistent. I think they win this game 44-42 at Tulsa. 86 total points. DraftKings agrees with me. They got Jacksonville Sharks as a 4.5-point favorite. I say I'm taking Tulsa with the points. Over under 79.5. I'm going over on this. I think it's definitely going to go over. Tulsa with the points. Why? Because Tulsa needs to win this game, guys. Jacksonville needs to win this game. Tulsa needs to win the game a little bit more, though. I think they come up short, but I think they're going to come up real close. Hopefully Green Bay knocks off Massachusetts, and that knocks out Massachusetts and allows Tulsa to clinch their playoff spot anyway. I think Tulsa, Quad City would be huge. I think Jacksonville, Green Bay would be huge. I think Jacksonville, Quad City would be huge. These would all be good playoff games in the East. Massachusetts, I don't know. They've beaten Jacksonville sometimes. It's hard to say how they fit in. They are so inconsistent. Okay. So right now I got Jacksonville winning. I'd be putting my money on Tulsa with the points. Okay. And it's being like a 1-point game, honestly. Saturday, July 19th, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. We got the Bay Area Panthers to clinch the playoff spot. I believe with this game they clinch home field advantage in the West. So they need to beat Tucson. So if they beat Tucson at Tucson, they clinch number 1 seed in the West. They get a home field advantage for the playoffs. And the Tucson Sugar Skulls are out. Okay, officially out. Out. They're just barely hanging on. They have to win. And then they have to hope everyone else loses. I don't even know if it's possible for Tucson to get in right now. Technically, it might be possible. I don't see how, though. Bay Area wins. Boop, Tucson's done. Boop, Tucson might already be done. Just not officially. Okay? I got Bay Area winning this game in a very exciting game. 44-43. I think it's going to be a war. I think Tucson's fighting for their life. It's going to be a battle. Just shouldn't have lost last week in Northern Arizona Wranglers. That probably ended this thing for them. But Bay Area, they might beat them. There's 87 total points scored. DraftKings agrees a little bit. They think Bay Area is going to destroy Tucson. I don't know. I don't think so. Tucson's been annoying and hanging in there all the time. Bay Area, I think, is going to win 44-43. DraftKings says they're going to win by 8.5 points, though. So if I was betting on this, I'd once again go with the underdog with the points. So I take Tucson Sugar Skulls with the points, and then I take the under on this. I think there's no way they're going to hit 90 points, man. Not the way these two teams play. Have I been wrong before? Yes. But I'm just saying, I don't expect a shootout, but it might be. Saturday, July 19th, 9:05 p.m. Eastern. We got the eliminated Northern Arizona Wranglers playing their last game. Vegas Nighthawks. Okay, Vegas is the team that could be overtaken by Tucson. So if Tucson beats Bay Area, Northern Arizona Wranglers beat Vegas Nighthawks. The door is open in the last week of the season for Tucson Sugar Skulls to overtake Vegas Nighthawks. Okay, that's the difference. Now, if Tucson loses to Bay Area, like I think they will, they're done. Vegas is in. And then it comes down to seeding. Right now, Vegas will be the number 4 seed. They have to go to Bay Area. They've beaten Bay Area at Bay Area before, so it's wide open. The whole playoff's going to be wide open, guys. Okay? I say Vegas wins this game 46-37. They want to avoid any monkey business. They want to be right there. They want to control their future. If Arizona loses, which could happen at San Antonio, they're dangerous. Vegas could pull ahead in the 3rd spot and be traveling to San Diego. And they can definitely beat San Diego. Well, they've lost San Diego too. So, I think it's really beneficial for Vegas to win this game. I think they're going to win 46-37. They've had a tendency to play down to their competition. Northern Arizona has a tendency to score a lot of points, okay? They don't play a lot of defense. They score a lot of points. Vegas Nighthawks, I think they're going to win 46-36. Total points will be 93. Wait, 83. I got 83. Okay, why is that important? Because DraftKings says Vegas Nighthawks are 15.5-point favorites. I say no way. Vegas hasn't played well enough to destroy a team like that, except for Iowa. Iowa's horrible. Northern Arizona's been more competitive than Iowa, for sure. 15.5 points, I say no. I say 11. I say 9 points is what I said. So I'm picking Northern Arizona Wranglers with the points. Okay, that'd be the moneymaker right there. And I would go under 86.5, I think. Now, it is possible Vegas to have an explosive game, and that goes over, but you never know. All right, in the ELF, there's been a lot of movements. We went to yesterday in the ELF. So we're getting into the last 4 weeks of the ELF season, getting ready to make a playoff run. This year is the most competition they've had for playoff spots. Usually the playoff spots are kind of determined by now. You can kind of figure it out, except for a couple teams. But currently there's like 6 teams competing for 2 playoff spots still. You got 4 division leaders who are pretty solid. And then you got 2 spots, and 6 teams are competing for those 2 spots. So this is going to be crazy. These become playoff games for those playoff teams, okay? So, first one is Vienna Vikings, 7-1, traveling to Roclaw Panthers, who are one of those 6 teams fighting for one of the last 2 playoff spots. Boom, what do I think happens here? I think Roclaw comes out. They understand they need to win to have a chance to make the playoffs. They need to win. Vienna wants to keep their momentum. Vienna does not like giving teams feel-good wins. They want to destroy Roclaw, okay? What's going to happen? I think it's going to be a clash of titans here, and I think Vienna will win 38-36. It'll be real close, total points 74 points. But I think Vienna's going to win, and that should knock Roclaw out of the playoff run. Not officially, but essentially, okay? Number 2, Frankfurt Galaxy are 3-5, traveling to Cologne Centurions. Frankfurt technically are hanging on to a shred of a playoff hope, but come on. 5-3, 3-5. You'd have to win every game. If they win every game, they got a chance to go still, okay? They're going to beat Cologne. How badly is the question? I think they're going to beat them 38-6. Okay? Cologne's 0-8. Cologne's horrible. Frankfurt Galaxy has been pretty competitive. They were real close last week, okay, against Stuttgart. So I think it's going to be 38-6. Frankfurt, okay? These are all Saturday games. Guess I didn't mention that, okay? Munich Ravens, last Saturday game, Munich Ravens 7-1 at T-Roll Raiders. T-Roll Raiders are a team that needs to win. They're in the same boat as Roclaw Panthers. They need to win. Munich Ravens are the top of the division. They expect they should be in the playoffs, okay? They're not official. They're on path. I think T-Roll Raiders will play their best game of the year. I think that's not enough to win this game. Just like they played really good against Vienna, but it wasn't enough to win. I think Munich Ravens are the better team here. I think T-Roll's going to make it tough because they want to go to the playoffs if they can get back there, okay? I think it's going to be Munich Ravens 37, T-Roll Raiders 35. Okay. All right. Boom. Sunday games. First, we got Nordic Storm 7-0, traveling Berlin Thunder. There's 3-5. Berlin won last week against Cologne Centurions. That really shouldn't even count, honestly. That's so bad. I think Nordic Storm's going to destroy Berlin, and Berlin's going to be done. 3-5. They're on the cusp of being done. I think North Storm will put them down, and they'll be 3-6, and they're going to know that their playoff hopes are done. Okay, technically they got a chance if they win every game, but they're not going to beat Nordic Storm. Nordic Storm wins 38-12, even after beating Ryan Fire by 1 point last week. Okay, 50 total points. I got Nordic Storm winning 38-12, knocking out Berlin essentially. Madrid Bravos 5-3, traveling to the Bettinf Mercenaries. It is the big advantage for Madrid Bravos. They're 5-3. They're one of those bubble teams competing for one of the last 6 playoffs. I have them in the 6th playoff spot, honestly, in my predictions, because I know they beat some. They play some weak schedule coming down the stretch. So they're planning to play Helvetic, 5-3, 0-7. They're going to win this game 41-14. They're going to be 6-3. That's going to put Berlin away. That's going to put away Frankfurt potentially if they lose the game this week. I think Berlin loses and is out. Madrid Bravos 41-14, and I think they'll come really close to clinching their playoff spot. Okay, they're going to be right there. Ryan Fire 4-4. They're a long shot to make it back to the playoffs, but they did defeat the Nordic. They lost by 1 point to Nordic Storm last week. They are playing the Hamburg Sea Devils. They should win that game. And they still have an outside chance of getting to the playoffs. Very outside chance. I think they'll beat Hamburg 24-15. And I think it's going to be a tough stretch down the road. I think Ryan Fire will win that game. They'll go 5-4. And they'll knock out Hamburg Sea Devils. Okay, Paris Musketeers 5-3. Traveling to the Stuttgart Surge. This is a playoff game, guys. Paris Musketeers are one of those 6 teams fighting for a playoff spot, okay? With Stuttgart Surge as the division winner. If Stuttgart Surge loses to Paris, Paris could overcome and overtake Stuttgart Surge in their top of the division. They could overtake their playoff spot and potentially get a bye. They could also be a favorite to win that division when being a home game. Okay, I don't think Stuttgart Surge as interested in losing this game at all. I think Paris has a really good defense, but I think Stuttgart Surge has a really, really good offense, and on that Riley Hennessy that is. So I have Stuttgart Surge winning this game in a hard-fought game, 44-35, 81 total points score. I think it's going to be a crazy game. I think Stuttgart Surge will win against Paris. Okay, and then the last game, Farivar and Throners taking on Prague Lions. Prague Lions are 4-4. They got a chance to make plus. They win out. They've never won a home game. They've never won a single home game in the Elf. They're playing Farivar and Throners. This is put to the test here, okay? Farivar and Throners are 0-8, but they have pushed teams to the brink. Prague Lions are 4-4, and they're on a 2-game losing streak. Now, if they went out, come out and win 3 out of the next couple of games, maybe they win the next 4 games, they'll make the playoffs for the first time ever. But they've never won a home game, and then they got to beat Farivar. So I think they'll win this game 24-14, 38 total points. I think that'll be Prague's breakthrough to get their first home win ever. Okay. Last but not least, we got the UFL. Houston Roughnecks keep signing people. They re-signed quarterback Jalen McClendon. They re-signed wide receiver Justin Hall. They re-signed wide receiver Emmanuel Butler. They re-signed linebacker JT Tyler. They re-signed safety Markel Roby. Michigan Panthers re-signed all UFL offensive guard Cole Cable. Now, my question is, once again, why are the Roughnecks and Panthers only teams signing people? They sign a whole bunch of people. And people are like, well, they're playing real aggressive so they can win the league. Or the league's not playing. Okay? Hate to say that, but that's where we're at. Why are they the only team signing people? I don't know. I would question if I was a player signing with the Roughnecks or the Panthers. Why are we the only team signing people? Well, this is also an indicator that things are not going as planned for the UFL. UFL has just fired dozens and dozens of players, but it says full-time workers, not players, but workers in the marketing department, marketing team, and public relations and ticket sales and other like front office type positions. They're cleaning house. Why? Because they need to cut costs so they can afford to pay players and these medical insurances and all that stuff they didn't want to pay them. They knew they couldn't afford it. That's why they didn't want to pay them. But players were going to strike, so they said, we'll pay you this. But now it's pretty much destroying the league. This is the beginning of the end, I believe, for the UFL. They're clearing out all their office workers, okay, because they can't afford to pay them. There's only 2 teams in the league signing players: Houston Roughnecks, Michigan Panthers. I'm not holding my breath. The UFL will be back next year. Okay, that's why I quit covering San Antonio. It doesn't feel like they're going to be back next year. I think there's too much to overcome. Okay, CFL is superior anyway, guys. CFL, IFL, no complaints from either of those 2 leagues. They're awesome. We could do without the UFL. Okay, we could do without a league that doesn't fit. CFL is fun. IFL is fun. UFL is an ugly football league. It's ugly to watch. Okay, Tyler Tiger, what do you think? I think we've got a lot of Bengals news going on, and hopefully they just figure this out with Shemar Stewart and Trey Hendrickson. TJ Watt, congratulations on your contract. Hope we can figure this out and not get destroyed by the Steelers. Yeah, I was hoping we'd beat Steelers. I hope we would sweep them. But it feels likely to not be the case because we don't have enough defense. We have a lot of offense, though. We have a lot of offense. That's who. We have a lot of offense. All right. So that's the show. Remember, check out footballanalysis1.com. I got Buffalo Bills breakdown on there. CFLnewshub.com. I put my pregame article, sans the depth charts for Hamilton Tiger Cats and out of the Red Blacks for Sunday on there. Boom. Depth charts will be added tomorrow when they're released. And then remember, if you like the channel, subscribe, and like the channel so you see more videos of what we do. And we're going to make some shorts here in a little bit. And we're looking for the next college breakdown. We're looking at Conference USA probably tomorrow. Okay. So that's the plan there. Football Science Portal is now closed.